The crystal coffin had rested in the observation deck of Station Terminus for 2 centuries, untouched and unexplained. Inside lay a human woman, perfectly preserved, her face covered by a silver veil that obscured only her eyes. Every species in the Galactic Council had studied her, scanned her, theorized about her, but none had ever dared to lift that veil. Captain Marcus Webb stood before the coffin on his first day as station commander, feeling the weight of history pressing against his chest. The previous commander had given him one instruction during the handover: never touch the veil. Why not? Marcus had asked. The old commander had simply shaken his head and walked away. Now Marcus circled the coffin slowly, his boots echoing in the vast chamber. The woman inside appeared to be in her 30s, wearing a simple white uniform with no insignia or identifying marks. Her hands were folded across her chest, and her breathing was so shallow that only the most sensitive instruments could detect it. She was alive, technically, but trapped in some state between life and death that no medical science could explain. The veil itself was the mystery within the mystery. It appeared to be made of liquid mercury, yet it held its shape without flowing. It covered her from eyebrows to cheekbones, a perfect band of reflective silver that had never been successfully scanned or analyzed. Every attempt to penetrate it with sensors resulted in catastrophic equipment failure. Commander Webb. The voice belonged to Dr. Elena Ross, the station's chief researcher. She approached with a tablet in hand, her expression troubled. "We've received another delegation request. The Vrin Collective wants to examine the coffin again." "That makes 12 requests this month," Marcus said. "What's driving the sudden interest?" Elena hesitated. "There are rumors. Some species believe she's a weapon. Others think she's a prison, containing something that would destroy us all if released. The Vrin have a prophecy about a veiled sleeper who will wake when the galaxy faces extinction." Marcus turned back to the coffin. "And what do you think?" "I think she's been asleep for 200 years, and we're no closer to understanding why than we were on day 1. Elena moved beside him, her reflection visible in the coffin's surface. "But I also think there's a reason the veil covers only her eyes. Eyes are how we perceive reality. Whatever she's protecting us from, or whatever we're protecting her from, it has something to do with sight." That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. He found himself drawn back to the observation deck, standing alone in the darkness with only the coffin's faint luminescence for light. He had commanded vessels through hostile space, negotiated with species that considered humans little more than clever animals, and survived battles that should have killed him. But this silent woman in her crystal prison unsettled him in ways he couldn't articulate. He placed his hand on the coffin's surface and felt a subtle vibration, like a heartbeat transmitted through stone. "Who are you?" he whispered. The coffin pulsed once, strongly enough that Marcus jerked his hand back. The lights in the observation deck flickered. On instinct more than reason, Marcus reached for the control panel at the coffin's base and entered the unlock sequence. The crystal lid hissed and began to rise. Alarm should have sounded. Security should have flooded the room. But the station remained silent, as if holding its breath. Marcus stood over the open coffin, looking down at the woman's peaceful face. Up close, he could see fine details invisible from behind the crystal. A small scar on her chin. The faint lines around her mouth that suggested she had smiled often. The way her dark hair fell across the pillow in waves, and the veil shimmering in the dim light, reflecting his own uncertain face back at him. His hand moved before his mind could stop it. His fingers touched the edge of the veil, and it felt like touching the surface of a calm lake. Cool liquid, but with tension beneath. "Don't do this," he told himself. "Walk away." But he didn't walk away. Instead, he carefully, slowly lifted the veil. The silver material came away easily, folding into his palm like captured moonlight. And beneath it, the woman's eyes opened. Marcus froze. They weren't human eyes. They weren't alien eyes. They were something that shouldn't exist, something that made his brain struggle to process what it was seeing. Her eyes contained depth, infinite depth, as if he were looking not into eyes, but through windows into spaces that curved beyond normal geometry. Stars wheeled in those depths. Galaxies formed and died. He saw the birth of the universe and its eventual heat death, saw every moment of history laid out simultaneously, saw himself as an infant and as an old man, and as dust scattered across worlds not yet born. He saw humanity's first desperate leap into space after Earth's poisoned atmosphere made the surface uninhabitable. He saw the colony ships, the generation vessels, the terraforming efforts that failed more often than they succeeded. He saw humanity clawing its way to survival, never giving up, never surrendering to extinction. And he saw her. This woman. Not asleep in a coffin, but standing on the bridge of a vessel that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once. She was speaking to something vast and incomprehensible, something that existed outside the normal flow of time. She was negotiating. The humans will survive. Her voice echoed across centuries. I will ensure it. But you must leave them their chance. The vast thing responded in a language that was mathematics and music and pure concept. It agreed, but there was a price. I know the price, she said. I will pay it. And she had. She had given up her normal perception of reality, had opened her eyes to see all of time and space simultaneously, had taken that burden into herself so that humanity could continue, existing without being noticed by things that would erase them casually, thoughtlessly, the way a person might step on an ant. For 200 years, she had been holding a bargain together through sheer force of will. Her consciousness spread across every moment, watching, ensuring, protecting. The veil had been a kindness, a way to contain what her eyes had become, so that others wouldn't be driven to madness by looking into them. Marcus stumbled backward, his mind reeling. The veil slipped from his fingers and dissolved into mist before hitting the floor. The woman sat up slowly, smoothly, her movements unnaturally fluid. When she turned her head to look at him directly, Marcus felt tears streaming down his face without understanding why. You shouldn't have removed it, she said. Her voice was kind, sad, and infinitely tired. I was protecting you. From what? Marcus managed to ask. From truth. From understanding. From seeing what I see. She stood, and reality seemed to bend around her, accommodating her presence. I am Anna Lake. 200 years ago, I saved humanity by agreeing to become a permanent observer, to watch the thread of human existence and ensure it never attracted the attention of the old ones who sleep between galaxies. As long as I watch, as long as I maintain the bargain, humanity remains invisible to them. But why the coffin? Why appear dead? Because to watch all of time simultaneously, I cannot fully exist in any single moment. This station, this coffin, they anchor me. They give me a point of reference. She looked down at her hands, and Marcus saw stars being born between her fingers. And now you've woken me fully, pulled me into this specific moment, this specific time. The bargain weakens. They will notice. Marcus felt cold spreading through his chest. What do I do? How do I fix this? Anna smiled, and it was the saddest expression Marcus had ever seen. You can't, but I can. She reached out and placed her hand against his forehead. You will forget this conversation. You will forget lifting the veil. You will remember only that you saw a woman wake up, speak a few words of confusion, and fall back asleep. In 5 minutes, the veil will restore itself, and I will return to my vigil. Wait, Marcus said desperately. If you're protecting us, who protects you? No one, Anna said softly. That's what it means to be human, Captain. We protect each other, even when it costs us everything. Even when it means giving up our own place in time. Even when it means watching over a species that will never know our names. She removed her hand, and Marcus blinked, confused about why he was standing so close to the open coffin. The woman inside stirred briefly, murmured something he couldn't quite hear, and settled back into her strange sleep. The silver veil reformed across her eyes, like morning mist gathering. He stepped back, suddenly aware that he'd violated protocol, and quickly closed the coffin. As the crystal lid sealed shut, he could have sworn he saw the woman smile beneath the veil. Marcus left the observation deck, feeling oddly at peace. He didn't understand why, but he made a note in his log to ensure the coffin was maintained perfectly, that no one would ever disturb it, that this anonymous guardian would be honored even if her service remained forever unexplained. Behind him, unseen and unseeable, Anna Lake opened her infinite eyes once more and resumed her eternal watch over the species she loved enough to sacrifice everything for. In the darkness between stars, ancient things stirred briefly, sensed nothing of interest, and returned to their ageless sleep. Humanity continued on, unaware and safe, protected by a woman who had chosen to see everything so that they could live, without seeing the horrors that lurked in the spaces between moments. And in Station Terminus, the crystal coffin remained, as it had for 2 centuries, as it would for centuries to come. Some mysteries after all. Eggsy,